Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Muhammad Fikri Al-Farabi. I'm from PBI 4A, and in here, I want to record my video presentation for fulfill my last exam of academic speaking course. And for the presentation, I took the thesis from the one of the student college from uh, University of Muhammadiyah of Makassar, and the name is Muhammad Saifullah Al-Fauzan. And the title of the thesis is Improving Students' Speaking Ability Through Mobile Social Networking. Next slide. And the slides show the table of content. The first is introduction, the second, review of related literature, the third, research method, and the next, finding and discussion, and the last is conclusion and suggestion. Next, first, introduction. Language is a tool of communication as an important role to reveal an intention to someone else. People will be able to express their true and feelings by using language. And next is problem of statement. Based on the background above, the research formulated the problem statement by question. Does Facebook can improve the student speaking ability at 10th grade? And the next is objective of the research. The researcher states that the objectives of the study. And the next is significance of the research. Expected to help the student to improve speaking ability. And the last is scope of the research. Use Facebook to improve students' speaking ability in English learning. Next. And the next is review related of literature. Review related literature. Social networking and media can provide rich tool for teaching innovation and compelling ways to engage students effectively. The second, social media like Twitter, Instagram, Skype, and Facebook. And the last is definition from speaking itself. Speaking is the ability to produce words in language practice. Next. And this is the concept from the framework. The and the diagram above shows the framework of this study. It starts with the researcher who has analyzed student speaking ability by giving the pre-test. From that test, the researcher collection of data and analyze student speaking ability. After given the test, the researcher given treatment use of Facebook during for meeting. Since given treatment, the researcher given post-test to find out the development of student speaking after use of Facebook. Next. Next is hypothesis of the research. The first one is null hypothesis. There was not a significant differences between the result of pre-test and post of the students' English speaking ability by using mobile social. And the second, alternative hypothesis. There was a significant difference between the result of pre-test and post-test students' English speaking ability by using mobile social. Next, the third point is research method. The first method is research design. The researcher using one group or use pre-experimental researcher use pre-experimental research use one group, that is experimental group. This study was pre-experimental group as the student achievement in speaking after being taught by using Facebook. And the second one is research variable. According to ARI 2002, a variable is an attribute that is regarded as reflecting or expressing some concept or construct. Variable was divided into two. They were independent variable and dependent variable. And the third one is population and sample of research. This study was the population of this research was the 10th grade year students of the one of the high school in Makassar. There are 50 male and 65 female students. According to Arikunto, sample is number or part of investigated population. Therefore, to take the sample, present researcher was used purposive sampling. Arikunto states that purposive sampling is sampling a technique which is used by a researcher if the researcher has a certain judgment in taking the sample. And the fourth one is instrument of research. The researcher was use picture as instrument. And the fifth is procedure data collection. There are pre-test, treatment, and post-test. And the last is technique of data analysis. The technique of quantitative data analysis. Quantitative data is a technique to analyze and count the data in this study. The researcher was used the quantitative data to know the student's ability in speaking after they are taught by using picture on Facebook as media in teaching speaking. Next. The next is fourth point. There is finding and discussion. The first is finding. The finding of free experimental research deal with presentation the research with which it aims to improve the student accuracy and fluency in speaking. The finding consists of students' ability and speaking and observation result. The data of speaking accuracy deal with pronunciation, and while the data of speaking fluency deal with smoothness. And the second one is discussion. Uh, where is discussion itself is the researcher in this session, the discussion dealing with the interpretation of findings derived from the result of findings about the observation result of the student speaking accuracy in terms of pronunciation and fluency in terms of smoothness. Next. And the last one is conclusion and suggestion. Based on the result of the data analysis and the discussion of the result in previous chapter, the researcher concludes that based on the result of the researcher use of media social in speaking at the 10th grade of the one of the high school in Makassar is effective to improve student speaking ability. It was proved by the significant difference between students' achievement before and after use of media social or like Facebook in speaking, especially in term accuracy and fluency. And the second one is suggestion. Suggestion for the teacher. The teacher should give enough opportunity to the student to practice their speaking skill through social media. One of them is Facebook. And the second, for the teacher also, English who teach in senior high school level should be creative in teaching English skill, especially in speaking because to master it need more media or method to improve it. And the second is for student. The student should be diligent to practice English speaking whenever and wherever. The student should not be afraid to speak in English. In other words, they should have self-confidence in speaking. Next, maybe that's all for my presentation. Uh, Forgive me for the bad words and kesalahan kata. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.